What if I told you that a small island in the Pacific Ocean could start World War III? This isn't science fiction. This is happening right now. China has built missiles that can travel thousands of miles to hit one specific target, the American island of Guam. And if they ever fire these weapons, the United States Navy is ready to strike back harder than ever before. Subscribe to the Mind of the World for more stories that will change how you see the world. Here's what makes this so scary. Guam is tiny. You could drive across it in just 1 hour. But this small island holds some of America's most powerful weapons. It has military bases, fighter jets, and submarines that can reach anywhere in Asia. For America, Guam is like having a military base right next to China's front door. But for China, Guam is a threat that must be stopped. China has spent years building what they call Guam killer missiles. These are not normal weapons. They can fly 3,400 miles without stopping. They can carry nuclear bombs, and China has built dozens of them. Military experts say China could fire 40 of these missiles at Guam, all at the same time. Even America's best defense systems would struggle to stop them all. Why Guam matters so much? Let me show you why this small island is so important. Guam sits right in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. It's 1,500 miles from the Philippines, 1,500 miles from Japan, and only 1,800 miles from Taiwan. This location makes it perfect for America to watch over the entire region. The island has 2 huge military bases. Andersen Air Force Base can launch big bombers that carry powerful weapons. These planes can reach any city in China within just a few hours. The naval base can park nuclear submarines and aircraft carriers. When these ships leave Guam, they can control the entire South China Sea. Here's something that will surprise you. More than half of all the world's trade ships pass through the waters near Guam. If someone controls this area, they control global trade. America uses Guam to protect these shipping routes and to help its friends like Japan and South Korea. Most importantly, Guam is America's main base for protecting Taiwan if China ever tries to invade it. But now think about this from China's point of view. Every time they look at a map, they see American weapons pointed at them from Guam. Chinese military leaders know that if there's ever a war, American forces will attack from this island. So China decided to build weapons that can destroy Guam before America can use it. This is why the situation is so dangerous. China's dangerous weapons. China's most feared weapon is called the Dongfeng 26 missile. Military experts nicknamed it the Guam Killer because it was built specifically to destroy targets on Guam. This missile is huge. It's as long as a truck and can fly 3,400 miles without stopping. What makes this weapon so scary is that it can carry 2 different types of bombs. It can carry regular explosives that destroy buildings and airports, or it can carry nuclear bombs that can wipe out entire cities. The missile is also mobile, which means China can move it around on trucks, so America can't track where it is. But China didn't stop with just one type of missile. They built the DF-21D that can sink American ships. They built the DF-17 that flies so fast that no defense system can stop it. They even put missiles on submarines that can sneak up close to Guam underwater. China's plan is simple but terrifying. Fire so many missiles at once that America's defenses get overwhelmed. Here's the math that keeps American generals awake at night. If China fires 40 missiles at Guam at the same time, America's defense systems might stop 30 or 35 of them. But that means 5 to 10 missiles will still hit their targets. And just one missile hitting the right spot could shut down Guam's airports and harbors for months. Now let me walk you through what would happen if China actually launched 40 missiles at Guam. The attack would start in space, not on Earth. American satellites that watch for missile launches would spot the rockets within seconds of them taking off. These satellites would immediately send warnings to military headquarters in America. The message would reach the Pentagon, NORAD, and Pacific Command all at the same time. Military commanders would have maybe 15 minutes to make decisions that could start or stop a world war. On Guam, air raid sirens would start screaming. The island's 170,000 people would have just minutes to find shelter. At the military bases, pilots would run to their planes to get them off the ground before the missiles hit. Because planes sitting on runways are easy targets. Meanwhile, American defense systems would start tracking each of the 40 incoming missiles. Patriot missile batteries would turn on, ships would move into position, and radar systems would lock on to the targets. This is the moment that decides everything. The next few minutes would determine if this stays a fight between America and China, or if it becomes a war that pulls in the whole world. Because America's response wouldn't just be about protecting Guam, it would be about sending a message to China that attacking American territory has serious consequences. America's response would be fast and overwhelming. Within 1 hour, multiple things would happen all at once. First, the defense systems would try to shoot down the incoming missiles. Patriot missiles would fire at medium-range targets. Ships around Guam would launch interceptor missiles, and the THAAD system would try to destroy any missiles that got through the first defenses. But defending Guam is only part of America's plan. The real response would be to attack China immediately. American submarines that are already hiding underwater near China would fire cruise missiles at Chinese military bases. Aircraft carriers would start moving toward the South China Sea with their escort ships. From air bases across the Pacific, B-52 bombers would take off loaded with long-range missiles. Fighter jets from Japan and South Korea would scramble into the air. The message would be crystal clear. If you attack Guam, we attack you back immediately. Here's where this gets really dangerous. American military policy doesn't just say, defend Guam. It says eliminate the threat completely. That means attacking the missile bases in China, hitting Chinese naval ports, and possibly striking command centers where Chinese leaders make decisions. We're talking about American missiles hitting targets inside China within hours of the attack on Guam. Think about what this means. 2 countries with nuclear weapons would be shooting missiles at each other, and this whole conflict would start because of an attack on a small island that most people have never heard of. The stakes couldn't be higher. Guam's defenses today. So how ready is Guam for this nightmare situation? The island has several defense systems, but military experts worry they might not be enough against a massive attack. The Patriot missile system can shoot down some incoming missiles, but it was designed to handle small attacks, not 40 missiles at once. The Aegis defense system on nearby ships is more powerful, but those ships can also be targeted by Chinese missiles. That's why America is spending billions of dollars to upgrade Guam's defenses. They're building something called Aegis Ashore, which is basically a ship's defense system built on land. They're installing new radar systems that can track more targets. The goal is to create a defense umbrella that can handle multiple attacks at the same time. But here's the big problem. Defense is always more expensive than offense. Each American interceptor missile costs millions of dollars. Each Chinese attack missile costs much less. In a long fight, the attacker has the advantage because they can afford to keep firing. Military experts say perfect defense is impossible. The real way to protect Guam isn't to stop every missile. It's to make sure that any country that attacks Guam knows they will face devastating retaliation. It's like a dangerous game, where both sides have to trust that the other won't pull the trigger first. What happens next? So where does this leave us? Military planners on both sides are preparing for scenarios that seemed impossible just 10 years ago. America is spreading its forces across multiple bases so that no single attack can destroy all of its capabilities. They're making new agreements with the Philippines, expanding facilities in Australia, and working more closely with regional partners. China keeps building more missiles and developing new weapons that are even harder to defend against. They're also building artificial islands in the South China Sea, creating their own military bases close to important shipping routes. Despite all the military preparations, both countries still talk to each other diplomatically. Neither wants a conflict that would destroy both economies and risk nuclear war. The big question isn't whether these weapons will be used. The question is whether diplomats can find solutions before the situation becomes so unstable that someone decides to attack first. Guam might seem like a small island far away from your daily life, but it sits at the center of the most dangerous competition happening in the world today. The missiles aimed at it, the defenses being built to protect it, and the plans for retaliation. These aren't just military exercises. They're the pieces of a potential conflict that could reshape everything. The future depends on whether world leaders can find ways to talk instead of fight, because once the first missile flies toward Guam, everything changes forever. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.